what's up guys, I'm back to more Pokemon Showdown, and I have like a whole bunch of replays that I did like today. I'm just gonna show them to you guys, blah, blah, blah. I have like over 10, so it's probably gonna be a longer video, probably. I don't even know. I just made a new team. I don't know if I already showed this video, so just in case I did, you could fast forward this video until you see like the next video, and then you can resume. So yeah, I actually forget a lot of these videos. So it's gonna be Oh yeah, I already did it. I remember recording this. So yeah, never mind. You don't need to fast forward it. It's okay. It's all good. Okay, so I lead off with Sumo. I go for the Ice Punch. And then I get the freeze hacks. And I'll just start setting up them bulk ups. Getting on them bulk ups. Getting on them bulk ups. And I'm just working out over here. I mean, do you even lift? I don't think so. So, I use a bullet punch just to finish him off, just in case he does come back up with like some sort of flying type attack. Either way. So I'm using Sumo. Sumo's just wrecking everything. And he switches into a Diamond. And this guy is a Steelix. Even if with 2 times attack, I think it's kind of hard to one-hit a freaking Steelix. So I'm afraid of like the Aerial Ace or anything. Maybe the Acrobatics. So I did that. And if he special attack, he would definitely one-hit me with like a Focus Blast. So I use a Leaf Blade. I'm like, I can totally survive that. And I just use Memento. And yeah, so he uses Swords Dance, and I use Poison Jab, and since I get hacks, I just got the poison and he dies. Without that, I might have lost. Okay, so he switches in a Dinosaur, and then he dies, and he's switching a Jack. Not Jack Sparrow though, definitely not. He's talking about that Jackie Chan, Hitmonchan. So he switched into Jackie Chan, and I think you should name him Jackie. I don't even understand this guy, jeez. So, I mean, look at his name. Look at that name. Okay. So, we're just doing this crap, and I just use Poison Jab, and it doesn't kill him, and I'm mad. And bleh. So, he kills me with a Mach Punch because he's like the worst person ever. And I'll just use the Sucker Punch, because that'll definitely finish this guy off. And then I honestly don't care. I'm just going to be like a Glare, and then the Glare will hit and he'll be paralyzed. And then now I realize since he's faster than me that he's Scarfed. So I'm like, oh, he missed. I don't die, and that's what happens when you mess with me. So, in real life too, don't mess with me. Dangerous guy. I'll do this. I went back into you, and yeah. Yeah, I just found out how to turn music off. So, I don't know why. I just stayed in. I was trying to call his bluff. I was hoping he would go for Stealth Rocks. Like, knowing I can't one-hit him. And then I would switch out to, like, this guy, Pink Baby. So I, like, altered the team, I guess. And then he would go Flareon. And I'm thinking Flareon has Baton Pass. Because I think he can win Baton Pass. Right? So I don't know. I'm like, Flareon, Baton Pass. I don't know. This is kind of funny. I don't understand this. Yep, so he does use Baton Pass. He switches into Typhlosion. And Typhlosion is just a monster. So he uses Fire Blast. And I switched into Scorpio Tank because I was thinking he had Sucker Punch on him. I'm like, oh yeah, he has Sucker Punch. So yeah, I just wasted a Pokemon. But no, it doesn't matter because although it looks bad now, it's all good, dog. It's all good. But he uses Thunder Wave. And I'm like, electrocuted. So yeah, that happens. And then here we go, Scyther. and really, I just did a really stupid move because I should have went for the thing. So he used Swords Dance. I'm like, Ice Punch. I'm like, he has like what, max defense? I mean, do you see that he survived an Ice Punch from a freaking Hariyama? I have to say, that's pretty freaking amazing. So he switches back because I used Dragon Tail, and this happens, and I get paralyzed. I'm like, oh no. And then this happens, and then I use Glare, and I'm like, yeah, so now you're paralyzed too. And the Quillfish is really annoying. I never knew how annoying he was. I might use one, it just sounds pretty funny. So I make him go to Scyther because I force people like that. So I use Sucker Punch because, just in case he was gonna go for like some gay move, I don't know. So I use Dragon Tail just to get his crap down, and then I use Sucker Punch because you know he's gonna use Flame Charge obviously. So then he goes back into Sigilif, and I'm like, no, you're not setting up anymore, and he gets back into Quillfish because I Dragon Tail him, and now I'm doing no damage. So I'm like, evil, go out now. With that exact gay voice. And, wait, be right back. Okay, as I was saying, so I'm like, oh, well, I'm stuck in the tail slap. I mean, I don't want to switch or anything. So that happened. And, yeah, so let's go back into my bookmarks, and this is the start of my UE matches. I made, like, the best team ever. I mean, I'm like a Mega Horn, and he's like Psychic. I'm like, you're not very offensive, and I'm freaking Nidoking. So, but I used Mega Horn again, which would have killed him, except for this game is gay, and he's like, no, you have to miss. But I guess it pays off in the end because I get a crit with this U-turn. Without that, I doubt I would have killed it, and that would have been like. It would have been like super hard, so I have to watch out for those. So now I could survive anything this thing throws at me. I'm like, oh, why? I never knew Empoleon could use Focus Blast. It's kind of weird. And I switch out into Flower, because Flower is a boss. And then he used Flamethrower. I'm like, this is freaking Zavork. And then I'm like, I got you. And he's like, so then he switches into his Rubber Ducky. Except for it's Rubber Ducky. So he switches into his Porygon too and crap. And I'm like, no, you can learn Ice Beam. You're not getting Ice Beam on me. Let's go, happy feet. So I'm like, Hydro Pump, and then I miss again. So that's just gay all over. It's like the. So I just use Overheat. I'm like, oh no, it didn't kill him. Shucks. So I'll use Tri-Attack. I'm like, Overheat should kill him again if I just do that. And I'm like, yeah, Overheat killed him. So, Caution, very hot. Yeah. So I know the water move's coming, obviously. And since I'm faster, obviously, I'm just gonna obviously switch. So, I switch out into Flower, because Flower is like a boss. And he uses Aqua Jet, which does not kill me. So, if right there I used Rest, because I thought I was going to die. I thought he was just going to be smart. If right there I used Rest, like, why? That would have been such a good move. Either way, I don't want his Aqua Jet doing anything to me, so I'm just going to switch into Rubber Ducky. And Rubber Ducky actually takes it like way better than I thought. I thought it would be like 70%. Jeez. So that happens, and yeah. And he's like, Outrage. I'm like, Ice Beam. And then he quits because, you know, I'm guessing his Bronzong only had like Light Screen, Reflect, Stealth Rocks, and like, I don't know. He should have like Gyro Ball. What was it? Or Toxic. I doubt he would have won with Toxic, but you know, I've seen times. I've seen some really weird things in my day. Let me just turn the music off before it just interrupts me. Okay, so I said okay. So I go to caution very high, and he's like taunts. I'm like I ain't using them will-o-wisps. I'm not a Sableye or anything. So yeah, this happens, and I want to hit his guy. So he's like, oh god, this guy is ridiculous. So I'm like, he's gonna use Aqua Jet. So I'm like, happy feet, happy feet, happy feet, happy feet, and he used a focus punch with his thing, so I'm like, he's definitely not Sap Sipper. So I'll switch into Flower and use the Sea Flare. And with crit, I do a lot of damage to his Zapdos. So he's like, Heat Wave, and like, Air Slash, and that did way less than I thought it would. So I switch into Rubber Ducky, Rubber Ducky, Rubber Duck. So he gets a crit, but his life orb dies. It makes him die. He's like, Sludge Bomb's gonna kill him, gang. I'm like, nope, not even close. And but it really was close, cause I just died. And so I'm a liar. So I use the Air Slash, because Air Slash is how I roll. And he's like, Arcanine, and I'm like, oh god, it's gonna kill me. Run. But I didn't run in time. I'm really slow. So it killed me. So we go into Spikes with X and crap. I couldn't figure out a name for Nidoking. So yeah. I actually think he typed something. I don't know. I'm not paying attention to that. Wow, I did not know what just happened in battle. Oh yeah, I think I was predicting the earthquake, and he used Stone Eyes because he used Piece Crap, and I hate you, Chomposaurus. So he's like, Aqua Jet. I'm like, dude, I'm like Spikes, not even close. So he's like, Rhyperior, and at this point he's like, I'm gonna lose. Nidoking wins, but since you have 25% health, I win. So that happens, and then I was going on, and then I'm like, Drain Punch, and he's like, oh my god, how'd you know? And then I kill him. And now we go on to our next one. And I think this is the next one, right? And I think this is number 3. Yes, this is our next one. He goes into Mustachio, which is actually a great name for an Alakazam. I should have named that my Alakazam, but his name is Mustache. So he goes into Cape Crusader, and caution, very hot. He is over here, because he is very hot. And then he goes into Cannons. I'm like, Hidden Power, Ice! And then, but that happens. I'm like, Volt Switch, because I can like hit any type, because electric, fire, and HP ice. So he's like Scald. I'm like, not even close. And I like, out of all the things, I'd rather Flower to get burnt, because freaking Flower got that natural cure, and that's why you need the rest on Flowers. And yeah, so that happens. And I'm like, oh god, he's gonna use a fire move, guys. And then he does use a fire move. But I was thinking I'm just square water type, which I'm not. So I almost died by 2 flamethrowers. But happy feet. Yeah, you understand. You get it. So you gotta go into Rubber Ducky, and Rubber Ducky has Hyper Beam. But he's smart, and he switches into Cape Crusader just for Death Fodder, which means he just wants to get the high jump kick on me, or the Drain Punch. I like Drain Punch, just in case high jump kick misses. And let's see, U-turn. I'm like, Air Slash, and it misses anyway, so I'm like, Rest, and then he's like, no, and he uses Foul Play. And then I switch into Caution, very hot. And then he Sucker Punch. I'm like, oh god, you got me. But now I know he has Life Orb. I never knew that before. I was pretty stupid. I wasn't really paying attention before. So I'm like, Fake Out, and I'm like, yeah, Fake Out. And I'm like, U-turn, get out of here. And I get a crit, luckily. I don't know if it mattered because I forget this match, but yeah. So I get burned again because this guy, his freaking, what is this? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, just gets hacks all over. So I'm like, he's gonna use Fake Out, but I really don't want to switch. And then Oh yeah, I'm like spikes, because he's gonna use U-turn, and then he gets poisoned, and he uses U-turn, so it's bad against me all over. And look at Blacktopus, and I'm like, you ain't no Blacktopus, and yeah, so I'm like Mega Horn, and then it hits Mustachio, and then Mustachio uses Fake Out. And since I know Mustachio can't do crap to me, I am like Mega Horn, and it kills Mustachio. I mean, who knew, right? And since I really don't want to switch, yeah. So use Sucker Punch. I really should have predicted that. I really should have just like switched into like a Butterful thing. And yeah. So use Sucker Punch again, even though it's bad against me. Know that 1.5, pretty high damage, going pretty serious. So he's like a Blacktopus, and like Seed Flare, and then I'm like Seed Flare, and it misses again, and then this thing would go back. I'm like Seed Flare, and I miss again. This piece of crap. I hate. You're bad, Shaman Flower. You disgrace. And I will use Drain Punch, blah, blah, blah. And it does not kill him, but it does close to killing him. And then he used foul play. So yeah, that happens. I'm like, Drain Punch, woo! And then yeah, so he dies. Let's go on to our next one. Oh, God. I think that was like the number. I think it's this one. This is number 4. Because he was number 1. Because I am number 4. No. This is the wrong one. Holy crap. Guys, don't worry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Do you forgive me? Do you forgive me? Thank you. Okay, so it's number 5. So we're on the 5th one. I'm like, oh my god, 5 winning streak. You guys need to get on this level. So I'm like, caution, very high. I mean, this guy's smoking. So he's like, probably did nothing. Like, you might have, I don't know, you seem like a pretty good guy. But I'm gonna take you down with me, because I'm on the cops. And that's what I do to protect the city of, I don't know where I was going with that. So, he's like a knockoff, and I'm like, poison. And he knocks off my choice band. So I'm like, why did he do that? I'm upset now. Outrage. I'm really upset. It's outrageous. Tarek. Just outrageous. So this happened. I'm just like, outrage everywhere. I'm throwing things. Like, yeah. I'm like, oh god, he's gonna use Will-O-Wisp. I totally forgot, guys. And yeah. So he used Will-O-Wisp. So he used Will-O-Wisp, and I'm like, miss, and then I'm like, he's gonna use Will-O-Wisp again. I gotta go back into Flower, and he hits, and then I'm like, oh god, he's with an Argonaut, and then he used Flare Blitz, and yeah, so that happens. And yeah, I always forget that he's not solely water type. So yeah, let's go. Spikes, and Spikes is like Earthquake, and then they're like, ah, and then I'm like, ah, and then I'm like, ah, and yeah, so he's like, rest, I'm like, oh god, he's gonna be like Sleep Talk, and then he switches, and I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? That ain't no Sleep Talk. But then he goes and and then is like, I'ma kill you with a Will-O-Wisp. And then I'm like, why'd you do that, And he's like, I don't know. And then he dies with an Earth Tower. And then is the end of So we are going into Creepy, because Creepy is weird. Weird is creepy. So I'm like, Sea Flare. And he's like, nope. And so isn't that like double bad against him? And he's a special defense wall. I mean, I did quite a bit for that. You for cereal, bro. You for cereal. Either way. So, let's, yeah. So, I'm like, seed flare, and so I'm like, oh god, and he just shoots skull, so I'm like, it's all good, it's all good, it's all good, and it's all good. So I'm like, seed flare is like super effective, bro, gnarly. And then he was skull, and I'm like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, I'm on the verge of death, oh god. I use seed flare, and then he goes into creepy, and I use rest, so my health is all the way back up, and I'm not burned. And then he's like psychic, and then he's like, you know what, this guy's being meanie, he uses rest, I'm gonna quit, so this guy quits. So let's go on number 5, I think. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it 5? 5, 5. No, I lied, it's not 5. It is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After this, I gotta go to number 7, guys. Remember? So he got to me and he's like, hypnosis. I'm like, what? Hypnosis, dog? You for cereal? So, yeah, that happens. And then I'm like, flower, because flower can, just take hypnosis and switch out. And he's like, Dream Eater. I'm like, Dream Eater? Dude, I'm like, not even close. Immune. I'm like, fake out, dog. And then he's like, oh god, you got me. I'm dead. See you later. And then, so he's like, Zapdos. And he's like, Giga Impact. I'm like, that's weird. Especially, even if it's a physical Zapdos, you got Giga Impact. I mean, are you for cereal? And then, what is he, like, Choice Scarfed? And I'm like, this guy is he trolling? Or is he think this is for cereal? I'm like, I'm just, just in case he might just be really bad. So, he's like, Scrafty, I'm like, Signal Beam, just to see if, yeah. So he's like, Drain Punch, I'm like, oh god. And I'm like, Hydro Pump. And then, he used Ice Punch. So now I know this guy isn't even worth fighting. So yeah, so he was actually probably predicting Nidoking, but he already was a disgrace from the start. So he's like hidden power, because I don't know what this hidden power is, but this guy's. I mean, now I'm like, if any of my Pokemon die to this guy, I'm quitting Pokemon. So he's like, nice slash. I'm like, oh god, what if he gets a crit? So I'm like, everyone, I have to switch out to Rubber Ducky. And Rubber Ducky will do everything. Don't worry, guys. So I'm like, discharge, and it kills him, obviously, because I'm Rubber Ducky. So he's like, Glaceon. I'm like, Glaceon's terrible. And he uses Hail, so yeah, he's definitely bad. Don't worry, guys, I remember, it is 7. So I said, I remember, it is 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. Yeah, I can do that. The next one is 8. As you guys under says play music off. He's like, Bug Buzz, and then I'm like, are you trolling, bro? I've Discharge and Ice Beam. So he's like, Bronzong, and I'm like, Thunder Wave. Jeez, like, nobody here is a problem. And then I apply spikes all over. I'm like, oh god, spikes, you gotta run. And I'm like, happy feet. So yeah, happy feet. And happy feet will use these Stealth Rocks. We'll just trade them. And then I'll use the Hydro Pump. And he's like, Earthquake. I'm like, dude, are you for cereal? I don't like Earthquake. I'm like, Hydro Pump, and then I'm like, oh, but he's paralyzed, so it's a waste of a turn, guys. So I'm like, Hydro Pump, and that kills him. So yeah, that happens, and, yeah. So, he's like, Seed Flare, and even though it's, like, super effective or something, it doesn't even kill me, because this guy's bad. So I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna die. Let me just stay in. So, I die. I'm like, Butterfly Thing, do your work. And I'm like, fake out. And he's like, what? And then I said, fake out. So, yeah, that's what happens. Ugh. And then he's like, my champ. I'm like, I knew you would do that, but you know, I gotta sack this Nidoking with the dynamic punch, cause you know, yeah. So he's probably got like the ice punch, but I'm like, I can totally survive it, right, guys? I can totally do it. He gets a crit though, so that happens, and so I'm like, Butterful Thing, do your work, and then Butterful Thing's like, Fake Out, do your work, and then I'm like, Drain Punch, and then he's like, oh god, I was not expecting that. You got your health back, and yeah, so Flygon is like, Outrage. I'm like, oh god, you're scary. Oh god, you're scary. Oh god, you're scary. I'm like, okay, if I can somehow do something to him, caution very high, I might be able to win. And then I am like hidden power, and that just makes me go. That just makes my health go down. That's one less opportunity to like take the hit. I'm like, oh well, I'm definitely gonna die because of that. And now I'm at 56%, and then yeah, he's gonna kill me because of that. So yeah, next one is like 8. Let's count, kids. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. So he's like, this is him on top of the pain, his choice banded. Spoiler alert. So yeah, I'm like, why did you so much, bro? And then it's like, I don't know. So, you know, Nidoking just dies because I'm like so amazing with that overheat. Because, you know, caution very high. I like overheat sometimes. So I'm like, Happy Feet. And he's like, Mach Punch. I'm like, oh god, bro, you're good at that. And then I'm like, Spikes. And then he's like, no. And then, because, you know, Technician plus Choice Band, it's a bad situation. So, like, Outrage, I'm like, please get confused. And I do, so now I can switch out. So then, I'm like, Rubber Ducky, and then he's like, Scald. I'm like, that burns. So, he's like, Dusclops. I'm like, Discharge. And then, yeah, that happens. And then I'm like, Thunder Wave. You know, Thunder Wave's OP. And then he's like, Substitute. I'm like, oh, dude, you're terrible. I hate you. So I'm like, Ice Beam. And that doesn't even kill him. Why? I mean, Burn is only for attack if I'm correct. So yeah, that doesn't even kill him. I'm like, Seed Flare. And then he's like, Will-O-Wisp. So then he's like, Pain Split. And then I'm like, oh god, this guy means business. And I'm like, Seed Flare. And his health is half special defense. So then I'm like, I am not taking any chances of losing. I know I can beat him with another Seed Flare, but I don't want to take any of them chances. All them chances. So I'm like, caution, very high. And I lose like 1% health. So I'm like, overheat, because that's obviously going to kill him. Because, you know, caution, very high. So then he was like, hit my top. I'm like, I can kill you. Because Mach Punch, that's all you can do. And then I will kill you with an Air Slash. And that is one big problem out of the way. So he's like, in Mega. I'm like, Air Slash. But it doesn't kill it. But it does flinch. And how am I faster than it? And why doesn't it have speed boost? And not protect. This guy's weird. So Porygon Z comes out, and I'm like, oh god, look at him. He's like, you got me, guys. And then, so he's like, slow, bro. I'm like, Fake Out. That's about it. So I'm like, U-turn, and then he's like, oh god, you left me. And he's like, Psychic. And then I'm like, this is disgusting. I'm a Volt Switch out of here. And then, just for you, Porygon, don't worry, he'll battle my boy Spikes. And nobody's like, try attack. I'm like, oh god, you're disgusting. And I'm like, caution, very high. And you're like, try attack. I'm like, oh god, huh. And I'm like, Butterful Thing, do your work. And then, yeah, that happens. I'm like, Drain Punch. And he dies. So, let's go on to this next one, shall we? Am I right? So I'm like, caution very high, and he's like, Tail, bro. And I'm like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, get out of here before he uses Scald. But then I realized if I had Thunderbolt on him instead of Volt Switch, which I would never do, I would have just killed him. So yeah, he's like, what's the nigger? And then I'm like, spikes. And he's like, ice punch, because I totally forgot about the elemental punches. And he's like, ice punch. I'm like, I told you were gonna kill me. But this guy, I hate him. So he just uses fire punch and ice punch, just to tell me all of his moves, please. So he's like, red eyes. I'm like, dude, you ain't no dragon. And then he's like, you got me. I'm not a dragon. I'm a poser. And then he's like, you got the mummy. I'm like, no, I don't. You got the mummy. You got Pythagoras. And then I'm like, happy feet, happy feet. And he's like, trick room. I'm like, oh god, I might lose this game. This guy has like some pretty strong Pokemon. And I'm like, hydro pump. And then he's like, close combat. That's obviously gonna kill me, because So I'm like, beautiful thing, you do your work. And then I'm like, fake out, and that's definitely gonna kill that guy. And he's like, tail bro. And then I'm like, oh yeah, trick room. That just cost me my win. So then I'm like, I can still do it, guys. I mean, although me and Shower need to do, I can still do it. I see how it is. I get a crit with that. I don't know if that mattered. Oh yeah, this is how I'm gonna do it, and I'm like, I'm gonna win this. This is my destiny. It's my destiny. So I get him paralyzed because I'm like, I'm a boss. So I'm just like, okay guys, I can win again. I can win this. Discharge. I am winning this. If I lose this somehow, I dead. I'm just gonna go kill myself. So I was doing this. He doesn't even have the Will-O-Wisp. I mean, this guy needs training on aiming and crap. So I'm just gonna continually use like Ice Beam or whatever, cause it does more damage, and that's gonna eventually kill him until he uses Nasty Block, cause that's gonna help it all. So yeah, that kills him. Nice Nasty Block. Without that, you almost won. So play music up and let's go. Caution, very hot, guys, don't worry. This is a spicy battle. I'm like, he's gonna go to fake out. I'm like, he's gonna go to low sweep. Let's get predicted. And then he gets predicted. And he's like, seed bomb. I'm like, you don't even know the typings, like how good they are against each other. You're bad. And then since I'm choice bandit, I gotta switch, or else I would have stayed in there. Even though the shaman is a psychic. So I'm like, ice beam, but he switched down to bronze ox, so that's bad. And I'm like, thunder wave. So yeah, that happens. So I'm like, discharge. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. Good. So I use Hyper Beam on my champ. I'm like, yeah, but he didn't dab somehow. Somehow survived that. So he did his jab. I'm like, Earthquake, because I'm way faster. And since Needle King is a king, he switches out because he can't be up in front of battles. So they get a crit. I'm like, oh god, bro. And then they use Air Slash. So I'm like, now I know that you have max speed. Because although I only have 4 speed, you don't put in that. Well, actually you might. But either way, I have like 4 speed and like a lot of health. So my shaman's pretty tanky. I'm like, fake out, and he's like, you got me. So that happened. I'm like, U-turn. Oh, but he switched. So yeah, happy feet. So I switched into happy feet, hydro pump, and then he's like, calm mind. And then this guy, he thinks it's funny when you just stall the other guy. So he's like, protect. I'm like, are you for cereal? And then he is for cereal. So he's gonna like do that. I'm like, yeah, I'm killing him. 4% health. So he used calm mind again. And I'm like, are you serious? And he used protect. I'm like, this ice beam like it better kill him. And then he's protect again, but it failed, luckily, and it does kill him. Thank God. I actually didn't know if it was gonna kill him. I don't know if that makes me bad. I don't know. So I'm like signal beam, and then that happens, and yeah. So he's a curse, and he's cursing all over. I mean, like, you should watch your language sometimes. So I mean, like, fake out, and then drain punch, and I get a crit. Without that, I don't know what his moves are. I don't know, but he might have won. So, he's like psychic, and I'm like, oh god, this guy might just get me. And he's a girl power. I'm like, you can't get me anymore. You failed. I win. This is an unbeatable team. Get on it. Cheese nips. See you guys later.